So recently, YouTube came out with some changes to its partner program that are having everybody upset. As usual, when YouTube does anything, people are upset. And sometimes I feel like people just get upset because YouTube talks. I feel like it's getting to a point to where it doesn't matter what YouTube could change or say. It's just if YouTube says something, everybody's pissed. So for those of you who aren't aware, the new changes require 4,000 watch hours in the past year and 1,000 subscriptions to your channel before you are eligible to put ads on your videos. This means that, like before, it's really hard to make money off of YouTube, except now there's an actual cutoff. So those of you who were slowly making $2 a year and hoping that in 50 years you would get $100 from YouTube, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. That was me, by the way. That's how much I make or was making before YouTube cut me off. I think the most annoying thing I've seen involving this is people upset that this doesn't fix the Logan Paul issue. But this is obviously not directed at Logan Paul. If YouTube wants to hurt Logan Paul, they just stop monetizing him. This has nothing to do with Logan Paul specifically. The purpose of these changes is to make YouTube's ad situation more manageable. Because under the previous guidelines, basically, you did need to be 18 to start monetization, but you could also get your parents to sign up for you. So basically, anybody who wanted to make money on YouTube, all they had to do was put stuff on YouTube and then get their mom and dad to say that it was okay for them to get paid for it, and then ads would appear. And that's a problem because some people are making problematic stuff. Now, I know that's why people always jump to the conclusion of Logan Paul, but there's other people doing dumb stuff on YouTube that aren't Logan Paul. This is more of a reaction and more of a fix for the adpocalypse of the year prior than trying to fix Logan Paul, because they're not going to fix Logan Paul by changing everything for everybody else. This is a response to the fact that last year they were having a hard time keeping advertisers because advertisers were afraid that their advertisements were being put on things that were not suitable, that didn't represent their brand well. So if YouTube puts a big cutoff before you can possibly get monetization, then that means you actually have to be, for one thing, consistently making content on YouTube to make money off of it, which you already had to. It was already really difficult to consistently make money on YouTube. Now there's just a cutoff point. You can't, if you're not making this many view hours in a year, then you can't make money, which isn't really a problem. As YouTube stated in their email, nobody who is getting cut off was making more than $100 a month. That is not a job. You cannot subsist off of $100 a month. A lot of people are acting like YouTube is firing people, and that's not the case. Like my channel, I make less than $5 a year, and since YouTube's payout setup means you can't get paid anything until you've made at least $100. They'll only pay you $100 at a time, basically. I've never made money off of YouTube, and that's okay, because this isn't my job. I don't spend 40 hours a week making YouTube videos. I think it shows in my upload frequency. I see a lot of people complaining that now YouTube's not a valid career path, and surprise, it already wasn't. It's already really difficult. Even without these changes, it's always been difficult to make money on YouTube because it takes effort. You gotta grow it. You can't just throw a couple Let's Plays on YouTube. It takes commitment. A lot of the people who actually do make money on YouTube spend 40 plus hours a week working on videos, and have been doing that for quite some time. Those people, the people who are actually super committed, are not getting hurt by this. Very few people who consistently output any content are being affected by this. The few exceptions to this rule. The few people who are legitimately getting hurt by this are rare cases in which big channels decided to start over in an attempt to rebrand. I know the artist formerly known as Butterfly Identity recently restarted her channel, and she's going to be hurt by this initially because she hasn't put enough videos up to get 4,000 watch hours. But seeing the state of her previous channel, if she keeps making things, she's going to quickly get back to a monetizable stature on her new channel. So it's it is a problem that you started a new channel. It was bad timing, but that's not your fault. And it is kind of sad that this is a problem, but you're going to get there. Like the Butterfly Identity, it's freaking huge on YouTube, bigger than me. It's not gonna be that big of a problem. I'm sorry, you're gonna miss out on some money though. I legitimately am. And in fact, for the 1% of people who are actually going to stop making the small amount of money that was supplementing their income off of YouTube, I am sincerely sorry. It's rough, but this is going to make YouTube better, because if they can focus more on making sure ads are running on suitable videos, there's going to be less random demonetization. So the people who are making consistent money will actually make consistent money. They don't have to worry about randomly getting demonetized all the time, because that's the purpose of this, is to fix that problem. It's to fix that problem where random videos that didn't deserve it were getting demonetized. If YouTube has stipulations before your video even gets uploaded as to whether it gets monetized, then that means fewer videos they have to make sure are worthy of ads. And another thing that people are whining about is that YouTube just wants more money for the big creators. Like there's actually, I saw something on Twitter, and it was this guy who was translating, very cynically I might add, the email that all the YouTubers, or the YouTubers who are getting cut off, he took their words and then said something mean that kind of had to do with what they were saying from a kind of twisted, cynical point of view. And one of the things he was saying was, yeah, we're going to stop paying the little creators so that we can pay more money to the big creators, which is not at all how this works. If YouTube stops putting ads on small videos, they don't make more money. They don't make that much less money either, because as stated, these videos, these YouTubers were not actually creating a lot of revenue to begin with. But this does not mean more money for YouTube. This means less money for YouTube. Less ads on YouTube means they get paid less. It's not a cash grab. This is not a way to squash small channels. This is a way to make big channels more sustainable. YouTube was already a hard place to get big on. This is just making it so that once you get there, it's actually worth it. One thing I do want to touch on is the animation community. A lot of people are afraid because they're like, oh no, now it's hard to make money on YouTube doing animation, but it already was. This isn't making it it's a little harder, but it's still just hard. It's just hard. It's going to just be hard to make money by animating by yourself. It's always going to be hard, especially when the nature of animation is it takes a long time to make one thing. And the one thing is really great, but it takes a lot of time. And so it's not easy to consistently put out content. But that's just always going to be the case. Animation will always be harder and take longer to make than anything live action. Whether you're on YouTube or on television, that's the case. The animation will always be less profitable than some... vlogs are basically the YouTube equivalent of reality TV, and reality TV makes fast money. It's a fast buck, and it's always going to be that way. You can't. That's not going to change because you get off YouTube. That's always going to be the case. When you make content slower, when you take longer to make content, that's always going to make that content uh, it's not going to make that content more expensive. The animation, 10 minutes of animation to an advertiser is the same thing as 10 minutes of Logan Paul talking about basketball or what. I don't know. I've never watched any of his videos. I don't know what Logan Paul would talk about. Dead bodies. Logan Paul talking about dead bodies for 10 minutes. It's because it has nothing to do with the content. And that's just the fact of advertising, is that it has very little to do with how actually good the content is, as long as people are watching it. And so no matter what YouTube did with its ad revenue, animation's always going to be a hard thing to do. It always is going to be. And if you don't want to put up with that, then don't animate. And that sounds really mean, and I'm sorry, because I don't want animators to have to not animate. I love animation. It's something that I am passionate about. Storytelling is one of my favorite things. But I have to come to. I'm not an animator, and so that's probably why most of you will be angry at me, because I'm not an animator telling animators how to be. But it's the same thing with music. I'm a musician, and it's hard to make money doing any kind of art, and the fact that YouTube makes it even kind of possible to actually make some money off of things is phenomenal. And I think everyone's just been super angry with YouTube for the past couple of years because it's not easy and it's not perfect. But YouTube is pioneering a new type of media. Like, there's nothing else that's quite like YouTube. Like, everyone's trying to get off YouTube, go to Vimeo or whatever, but it's not the same. YouTube is the first of its kind, and it's the biggest of its kind, and there's nothing else quite like it. And it's hard to make money on YouTube, but it's always going to be. And no matter what YouTube changes, it's gonna stay that way.